Sorry, I stole your wonderful fiance. Are you upset and jealous that I'm happy? Haha. It's curious how those who can only look down on others end up with such ugly expressions. The sister's face in front of me looked distorted, as if her once pretty face was a lie. My sister and her husband, always looking down on not just me, but even my husband. My anger reached its peak, and I surpassed my limits of tolerance. My name is Emily. I'm 27 and work at a printing company. But I'm not operating big machines or anything. I'm in the design department. I work on flyers and catalogs for various industries, designing based on client requests. Though print numbers have decreased with digitalization, design work is still busy and rewarding. Thankfully, I'm getting more clients who specifically ask for me. If I hear comments like, "The flyer for the Christmas event was cute and a big hit," really makes my day. This job is my passion. Just when I thought I'd be single for life, work-focused as I am, my father was hospitalized with appendicitis. When I visit my father in the hospital, a young doctor, Ethan, greeted me with a hello. "Are you visiting someone today?" And now he is my fiancé. Life is unpredictable with its encounters. Even though I thought myself workaholic, I bought wedding magazines as soon as marriage came up. I guess I'm pretty excited too. Flipping through a magazine in the living room, enjoying some tea. That was when it happened. A hand reaching out unexpectedly. A magazine has been snatched away. Excuse me? What's this, a bridal magazine? Why are you looking at something like this? It's none of your business, Sarah. My younger sister, Sarah, had suddenly taken the magazine. A marriage magazine? Why would you look at something like this? You think someone like you can get married? Look in the mirror first. Know your place. Unlike you, I've never been without a boyfriend. In fact, my current boyfriend. Without anyone asking, she started bragging about her boyfriend. She has always been like this. Unlike my ordinary face, she's pretty. She's always been popular. Everyone but our parents and me spoiled her. Everyone around my sister, except our parents and me, were always her yes men. As a result, she came to see herself as the center of the world. Growing up arrogant, she eventually started looking down on me, her sister. Don't come near me. Your ugly face might infect me. Studying with that brain of yours won't get you good grades. Why bother? Ooh, I got confessed to again. It's tough being so popular. I envy you who never got any attention. She kept saying things like that. Even when our parents scolded her strictly, it was already too late. Sarah's personality didn't change, and her verbal abuse towards me never stopped. Fed up with her boyfriend bragging, I finally said, "I do have a boyfriend, actually, we're engaged. I'm looking at wedding magazines because we're getting married soon." At those words, Sarah stopped moving. She looked at me intently and then smirked unpleasantly. "Well, look at that, someone actually likes you. I wonder what he sees in you. He said he likes me because I'm cheerful and positive." Bullshit, you're probably just his maid. I'm continuing my job, so I won't be the perfect housewife, and he knows that. At this, Sarah looked overly surprised. What? You're going to keep working even after getting married? Poor thing, must be marrying someone poor. Her words infuriated me. She just can't help looking down on me. Money's not an issue. He's a doctor, income is not a problem. It's just that I want to keep working. She fell silent when I retorted. I sighed and went back to my room. Little did I know, she muttered something meaningful, a doctor, huh, interesting. The first step when we are talking about marriage is usually introducing your partner to your parents. Ethan, my fiancé, came to my house to meet them. The atmosphere changed from warm to tense when Sarah appeared. "Oh, so this is your fiancé? He's quite handsome." "Sarah, weren't you supposed to be out?" I canceled my plans for my sister's fiancé, of course. I was relieved that she wasn't around initially. I had a bad feeling because of it. Back when we were students, my sister had stolen my boyfriend several times. After becoming a working adult, I didn't have a boyfriend, and since my sister always had her own, such incidents didn't occur. I was uneasy when Sarah returned, but I thought she had matured as an adult. I hoped she had matured enough not to steal my fiance. She was overly friendly with Ethan. Then Ethan blushed and, "Let's call off our engagement. I want to date Sarah." My worst fears came true. I never thought she'd steal my fiance even as an adult. "Sorry, I took your fiance. It can't help it if I'm prettier and more attractive." Ethan was really into me. My beauty is a sin, huh? Her non-apology and smug attitude. Ethan, now my ex-fiance, joined in and laughed. "Can't believe you had such a pretty sister. If I'd known, I wouldn't have gotten engaged to you. Lucky it's before the wedding." The moment I saw his face with that twisted smile, any remaining feelings I had for him disappeared without a trace. Only a feeling of disgust remained. "It's a good thing I'm not marrying you, who changes women so easily. I'll gladly give him to you, Sarah." Sore loser, huh? Really? You're not pretty until the end. I wasn't being sour, I truly felt that way. But it seemed lost on those two, living in their fantasy world. Being around you two is a waste of time. Goodbye. Haha, still sounding bitter. We won't see you again, bye. They looked down on me until the end and left. Afterwards, my furious parents banned them from our house, so I never saw them again, though I heard through the grapevine that they got married. But honestly, I didn't care less. 3 years after parting ways with my sister and her husband, and now 30 years old, I was still working hard as ever. During this time, one of my clients really liked my work and started requesting me repeatedly. His name was Kenny. As Kenny and I talked through work, he somehow invited me out for a meal. Then, he asked me out on a date. On one of our dates, we started our official relationship. Honestly, I was thrilled. Kenny was a very sincere person, and I didn't think he would be like my previous boyfriend. But the trauma of my sister still lingered in me. I couldn't help but wonder. Somewhere inside, I was a little worried. So, I told him everything honestly. About my sister. About my ex-fiance. I even showed him a photo of my sister to gauge his reaction. But his expression didn't change when he saw her picture. He casually looked away from the photo and gave me a gentle smile. It might sound weird to say this, but, you know, I used to be quite popular. I've met many women who were prettier or more beautiful than your sister. But for some reason, none of them really struck a chord with me. I thought maybe I would remain single for life, but that changed when I met you. What do you mean? I think I have a good eye for people, given my line of work. No matter how beautiful or well-dressed, inner beauty is incomparable. I realized this after meeting you, Emily. What do you mean? I thought you were shining. Shining? When you talk about your work, the way you come alive, Emily, you look beautiful and radiant. You are wonderful. Even when we're not talking about work, when we're eating or on dates, you always seem to be having a great time. It's clear you're enjoying our time together. The way you enjoy life, it's incredibly beautiful to me. Wait a minute, this is so flattering. But Kenny continued as I blushed and tried to stop him. Emily, you are beautiful. More beautiful and charming than anyone I've ever met. I've never met a woman as wonderful as you. Please. Will you consider a serious relationship with me, with marriage in mind? I truly, from the bottom of my heart. Stop. It's too much. Even as I blushed and stopped him, Kenny's words of praise didn't end. Eventually, I agreed to date him, but his compliments didn't stop for a while. I am so flattered. A year later, Kenny and I got married. Our married life was going smoothly, and I felt we became even closer than before. We both do the housework whenever we can. My husband, who had lived alone for a long time, might even be better at housework than me. His cooking is the best when I'm tired. We often go out together on our days off. One day, on a day off, we went out because he wanted to look at some furniture. That's when I had a nightmarish reunion with the devil. Hey, I was wondering who the ordinary woman was, but it was you. I heard a voice from behind while looking at the bedding section. I knew who it was without looking. For years had passed since we last met, but I couldn't forget. Sarah. There stood my sister, Sarah. Next to her was my ex-fiance, Ethan. It seemed to me that my sister's facial features had become harsher than before. Was it due to age, or her personality coming to the fore? Ethan, standing beside her, was smirking but seemed somewhat thinner. What a surprise to see you here. What are you doing? Nothing much. Just looking at furniture. This place has a lot of imports and is pretty pricey, you know? It's not really a place for someone like you. I was fed up with her usual condescending attitude. Ethan was nodding along. Exactly. If someone like you comes here, it will lower the store's class. We might even be mistaken for poor people. Just go home already. Their words were infuriating, but arguing with them would be a waste of time. I remained silent. However, my silence seemed to irk them, and Sarah and Ethan's voices grew louder. Ooh, how annoying. A high-end store is being ruined by people like you. Why would a poor person even come here? You probably can't afford anything anyway. Yes, poor people should just leave. Their behavior caught the attention of other customers and the staff, who started looking at us. I took my husband's hand to leave, but he didn't move. Then Sarah and Ethan noticed my husband's presence. Oh. Who are you? I'm Emily's husband. Sarah's eyes widened in surprise. What? You married this ordinary girl? Seriously? You must have needed a maid, how funny. We both do the housework. We're both working, so it's only natural. Working together? Poor thing. Your wife has to work because you're so poor. I pity you. I am a stay-at-home wife living a life of ease. We eat out more than half the week. We have enough money to afford a housekeeping service. Sorry for being on the winning side. Sarah's words were dripping with sarcasm and irritation. My irritation was growing. She looked at me with a smug grin. Sorry for taking your wonderful fiance. Thanks to that, you're stuck in a poor life even after getting married. And with such a dull man too. Birds of a feather. Aren't you just seething with jealousy and envy? Haha. You ended up marrying a loser who can't even support his wife, just like you. Enjoy your life of hardship, loser. I reached my limit. It was one thing to insult me, but I couldn't stand her bad-mouthing my husband. Listen here, enough is. Emily, it's okay. My husband interrupted as I was about to shout. Nice to meet you, I'm Kenny, the man who married your sister. Such a lame name. Well, thank you. Since we're here, please take my business card. As Ethan took the business card, my husband looked at Sarah. You're quite harsh on Emily, aren't you? It's the truth. Ugly women deserve to be told they're ugly. That's my rule. There's no such rule. And to me, you're much uglier. What? Ugliness of character, I suppose. You're confident about your looks, but don't you realize your spiteful nature shows in your appearance? His words, though polite, were sharp. Sarah's face turned red rapidly. Don't joke. What about me is ugly? Everything. Truly beautiful people don't envy their sister and steal their fiancés. What? When did I ever envy my sister? People gravitate towards those they admire and want to surpass. Isn't Emily that person for you? That's not possible, right? I was surprised. Not just by my husband's words, but also by how shaken Sarah was by them. I had never thought about it that way. She had always looked down on me. But seeing her shaken made me wonder if it could be true. If she didn't care about you, if you were insignificant to her, she would simply ignore you. She wouldn't think about taking away whoever you bring around. Because they're not someone she found herself. Taking something from someone else is out of jealousy, because they have something you could never get no matter how hard you try. That's not true, I'm not jealous. Taking something away to feel superior, doesn't that mean you lack confidence? A confident person doesn't need to do that. They can live proudly without such actions. That's not true. Sarah was desperately arguing back, but her voice was losing its strength. Hey, this name. Breaking the brief silence, Ethan shouted. Looking pale, he alternated between looking at the business card and my husband, shaking Sarah's shoulder. What now? This name. I thought it looked familiar, so I checked. What? Kenny Oakley? What about it? It's the name of the hospital where I work. What? Hospital? Oh, wait, Oakley Medical Corporation. Who? The chairman and director, Dr. Oakley. His son. Eh? It's just a common surname, it's not him, right? I've seen him at the hospital a few times with the chairman, so I'm sure. It was from a distance, so I didn't remember clearly. But now I think about it. If he's the son, he's a doctor, right? But this company name on the business card, company name. Just because he's a doctor's son doesn't mean he has to be a doctor. And this company. It's a very famous pharmaceutical company. I heard the previous generation retired due to age, and the grandson took over. Indeed, that grandson is me. My husband said calmly to the flustered couple. What did you say? Oh. Sarah let out a cry like a scream, and Ethan looked like he was about to collapse. As they turned pale, my husband spoke quietly. I met Emily through my work before taking over my grandfather's business. I had heard about her sister, but the reality is beyond imagination. Well, that. As Sarah struggled to find words, my husband turned his gaze to Ethan. To help people, you need to be compassionate. But instead, you look down and mock others. Who would want such a doctor to save them? Ooh, that's a misunderstanding. Ethan tried to defend himself with his pale face. But my husband said with a stern look, excuses are unnecessary. I will speak to my father about you. Await your fate. What? Ethan slumped, defeated. Sarah, still in shock, couldn't recover. We left them. We would never meet them again. With that premonition in my heart, I walked away without looking back. What happened after that? Ethan wasn't fired, but he got a significant pay cut and was removed from responsible positions. He had always been arrogant towards others and even cold to his patients. So it seemed like a fitting outcome when he suddenly faced cold treatment from everyone around him. It was like sitting on a bed of nails, and in the end, he left the hospital as if fleeing. Rumors spread through the hospital community, making reemployment difficult, and he continued to struggle with unemployment. As for my sister, it was revealed that despite her high salary, her extravagant spending had made their life quite tough. So that's why Ethan had lost so much weight. He looked more gaunt than just thin. After the pay cut incident, Sarah quickly gave up on Ethan and divorced him. If he was no good, she'd just find another man. That seemed to be her thought, but things don't always go as planned. Sarah's face, once pretty in her youth, had become much harsher. My husband had said it, and I thought the same when we met again. Maybe her personality really had surfaced. As a result, her popularity ended. She came crying back to our parents' house, saying no one was interested in her anymore. She complained, I'm so pretty, why won't anyone dote on me? She caught a good man, and I have to surpass her. She probably referred to me. This need to surpass me must be a law in her world. She was actually jealous of me. My husband had said, and maybe that was true. There is no excuse for her actions, but in the end, not even our parents sympathized with her. Self-inflicted. She was kicked out and vanished into the night. Her whereabouts are unknown since then. I doubt I'll hear her name again. Meanwhile, freed from the curse of Sarah and her husband, I've been living peaceful days. A serene married life. A passionate career. Fulfilling days. And soon, we will become a family of 3. Staring at the computer monitor, I gently stroke my growing belly.